Good evening. Hello, everyone. Hope you're good. No live on Friday, for obvious reasons. I am not going to be going live in the future on Fridays. I will be on Sunday, so these days will stay the same. If you are new to this channel, obviously, hello, welcome. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Let me know what you're doing. How are you doing? The hat is frontwards, as per. But yeah, let's talk about a few things. Obviously, what's on the screen, stimulus. We need to talk about that, what that could mean for the world of crypto in terms of past sort of history. They're past. It's not that long ago. It's recent, essentially. And we will talk about, obviously, the likes of Ethereum, why I believe it's kind of undervalued in its current state. I think it has been suppressed. We'll go over that. And yeah, hit the like button, slap on all kinds of good comments, say hello, and obviously press the share button. Get as many people in. Let's see what happens on this lovely little Sunday evening. So, first thing is obviously first. We need to talk, obviously, about what's going to happen in the next coming week or so. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, let me know how you're doing. If you want me to look at certain things, and I will come to questions at the end. As always, I'll go through random stuffs, as per usual. It's always fun. Peaky Blinders. Good series, by the way. I should definitely check it out. Yeah, I'm going to talk about RSR. RSR is on my trading view as it stands right now. So it's the first thing that I will look at. Because it's good. 300 billion in loans. Yeah. So yeah, like, I've had a lot of questions recently regarding stimulus check. So a lot of people failed to understand my tweet the other day regarding this is bullish for Bitcoin. I don't think people quite understand the ferocity of the increased inflation rate, and it's probably the reason why I'm kind of not so much out the loop in terms of speed of bull runs, but this is a ferocious market rise from when you talk about the COVID crash to where we are now. It's monumental. I think we're ahead of the curve due to the increased spending, and I'll explain the reasons why I think that is with a few little buzzword terms, all kinds of good stuff. Because a lot of people do talk about it and think, well, yeah, it's great printing money, they bail everyone out, but it's actually great for Bitcoin. It really is, because we are a hard asset that, you know, let's be honest, as money, as a monetary value element versus inflation, Bitcoin is uncorrelated with all the markets. It does its own thing because people want it. It's the biggest land grab in the world, and it is your own wealth. The banks cannot use it to lend it out. They cannot steal it from you. They can't take anything away from you. Whereas if you're holding money in your bank, it doesn't matter who you are, what country you're in, it depreciates. It's like holding one big massive ice cube. Think of it that way, right? You're holding an ice cube. Over time it will eventually evaporate. That is what happens to money every single year. The inflation changes every year. The cost of living goes up. Your wages don't go anywhere. All that kind of stuff. It's ridiculous, which is fun for us. I think it's bullish, which we will talk about in a bit more detail. People pressing the dislike button. Oh no. But yeah, I will get over some questions. We'll talk about certain things. But yeah, some interesting comments already, which is good to see, obviously. But yeah, slap that like button. Only 64 likes. Come on, let's get it over 3 million. Come on, let's go. I'm joking. Let's go for it. Anyways, so this is the biggest, obviously, the news story. This is what kind of ruined, I believe, ruined a little bit of the technical side of what's happening with Bitcoin. It's created a bit of a FOMO wave. We're back over 50K again, which is fair enough, but we were looking quite set to go down a bit further for a potential liquidity grab. But every single time we go to about 45, 46K, people are buying. Like, there's big companies buying up, and there's also Chinese companies buying right now. So you can see here the Senate has basically passed the 1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package on Saturday, and it's expected for approval in the next few days, which is obviously very, very big. It's more the point of what are people going to use this money for, and usually what we've seen with the patterns is stimulus checks tend to go into cryptocurrency, right? A lot of people are opened their eyes now to the likes of Dogecoin, funny enough, and other altcoins, not so much Bitcoin as well, but there is going to be I believe there's going to be a massive influx of new volume coming in over these next few days when these checks are finally released. And I think a lot of people will get a lot of hopium. There's no idea in terms of when it's going to be officially rolled out, but you can bet your bottom dollar that there will be a percentage of these checks of people that don't necessarily need it. It will go straight into the market because they're 1, interested, 2, it's FOMO, and 3, why not? It's money I can't, it's money I've never had. So we've got to look at that. But the bigger impact is actually what happens in the future in terms of why this is important as into now. Not so much the rise in prices because people are going to buy it. It's more the fact of, inflation, quantitative easing, which brings me on nicely to that segue of what this is. If you don't know what this is, you really need to start paying attention essentially to money. What is money? How money is actually physically used and worked and all kinds of stuff like that. It's a form of essentially monetary policy that essentially central banks will print off money, right? So if you don't know this, money as itself, USD, is not backed by anything. It used to be backed by gold. It's no longer. That was removed in the 70s. It is basically just like a big game of Chinese whispers. $1 is worth $1 in value. If enough people say otherwise, it may well change. You just don't know what's going to happen. But the fundamentals are key. The more money you print, the bigger the effect is going to be. This has been a very, very interesting year and a bit. For example, let's just talk about that, where it's going to go into the future. There's most likely going to be more and more print as things develop. This has been accelerated massively. Every single time there's a bit of hardness in the world, people print money. Doesn't matter where you are. If you're in Cyprus, if you're in Turkey, Greece, all these countries, have had huge bailouts in the past. It's all liquid cash from a big, massive printer, right? So inflation changes faster than we want it to. Money dilutes. It gets essentially deficient. It doesn't really work as well. Whereas Bitcoin, gold, property, blue chip sort of investments such as paintings and museum pieces become more and more valued because people are putting their money into those. And Bitcoin is starting to become on that wavelength now where you're seeing balance sheets of companies going into Bitcoin. Tesla, MicroStrategy, obviously Grayscale. You see a lot of other countries like companies such as Square as an example as well. And there's potential rumors of others as well coming to the market. They are looking to convert their excess cash that they're sitting on into hard assets such as Bitcoin, which is interesting. So when we talk about bull runs and bull markets, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's going to end in September. You don't know that. No one knows that. Stop listening to people like BitBoy and whoever who are telling you it's going to end in September. The chances are it probably won't, right? If there's more and more printing throughout the 2021, if there's more and more bullish nature, we don't know how big this next wave is going to be. When you look at the data of like previous cycles, they tend to get bigger. So ending it in September, as per people would say, I don't think that's possible. I think it's less likely it's going to end in September, considering we're at March already, and we've only just 1 year into the cycle where the previous one was 800 days. I find that a bit unrealistic. Yes, it's been faster, it's been very accelerated, but there's no need for it to just stop in September, for example. So just be careful with that. Don't just go with other people's opinion. Look at what the market is telling you. If the market is telling you at that time, hold on a minute, guys, you should be taking profits right now. It's starting to slow off. It's starting to die off a bit. Markets work in cycles. They go up, they come down. The best cycles, in my opinion, is always bear. You can accumulate, you can work quietly, you can get a great position. And in the bull market, you take profit from those. That is how it works. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. So, why is everyone talking about cheeky crypto? Who are cheeky crypto? But yeah, slap on likes and obviously hit the little share button. Get more people in here because it's quite quiet tonight. I think it's, I don't know why, probably start of the month. People off getting drunk or whatever, doing other things in life. But yeah, interesting questions coming through. I will look through the questions a bit, but we do need to talk about Ethereum as well, right? So that's my talk about quantitative easing and why I think that potentially cryptocurrency could be still going up. It's a hard asset. I think it will get accumulated more as this effect plays true. But there's another thing as well that's happening right now, and it's absolutely excessive, unbelievable stupidity in fees of Ethereum, right? This is happening, right? Whether you like Ethereum or not, personally, I don't hold any Ethereum. I don't hold it anymore. It's because I've gone with Polkadot mainly as my overall core holding. I prefer it. I think it's a better system overall, and also it's undervalued. It's not so much undervalued, but it's lower than Ethereum. But I think Ethereum is undervalued when you look at the prices. But this is happening as per the document states. Potential. Well, you can see it on the page there. It's coming. The main element of fees, the biggest issue, the next stage is happening as per their latest development in July 2021. Thank God. It is an absolute nightmare trying to send anything via the Ethereum network. As good as Ethereum is in terms of what it aims to be and how it works, it has a fundamental flaw. It isn't working as it should. We all know that, and it's been very, very well documented that this should have been done in 2016 as per, if you believe what the documentation on Polkadot would say. There has been so many problems with, I believe the hierarchy in Ethereum have had a lot of delays because a lot of people seem to be, I don't think Ethereum really know the direction it wants to go, in my opinion. I feel that they were unsure in them early days, and it's kind of led them to kind of get a little bit of a problem now, as you can see. But yeah, we do need to have a little look at all this kind of stuff and see how it kind of works. And if the fees are less, it's going to make a big difference, not just to Ethereum, but to the whole market. And I will look at the charts. But let me know what you think about Ethereum. And I think if the miners have fully agreed this and it all goes to plan, I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be great for the entire market because you've got interoperability with Polkadot. You've got other coins that will obviously interoperability with it as well. It will become a much better and safer place to kind of trade as well. Not as much slippage as well, which is also ridiculous. But yeah, thanks, Darren. I've had a look at that project briefly, but not massively, because the thing with me, I've been flat out doing course content. I've not actually looked at much new projects. What are we on about here? So Darwin. I have looked at it briefly, but I've not looked at too much of it. The thing is, there's that many projects out there now. It's getting hard to keep. It really is hard to keep, especially in my position. It's hard to keep up. It's relatively, obviously, I do like the look of it. I have looked at it, but the biggest thing with it is when you think about all of these kind of on-chain sort of services, how much will it affect what is happening in the future in terms of all the cross-chain stuff? Even if it is a substrate, even though how it's going to work, where will it go? Who will it connect with? Who will it benefit? Whereas I'm not the biggest fan of layer 2 solutions. I never have been, because I feel that the chain of a layer 1 like Polkadot should work as it should. It shouldn't need any sort of like interoperability but beyond it. But obviously if it is connected to multiple chains like it states it will have some sort of benefit. But there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them out there, and that's the biggest thing. So you've got to be careful of how these will actually play out in the future. Overall, it could be good, but we know there's going to be more of these built. Look at the Ethereum chain. You got OmiseGo, you had Matic. Matic have obviously rebranded, gone somewhere else because of the competition. There's multiple ones out there as layer 2 solutions for a lot of chains that sometimes will not get used, and that's kind of the biggest problem with it, in my opinion. Anyways, that's overall what I feel on it. But I do think there's going to be a lot of interest with that, but we'll see. It needs to kick off straight away, flying and kicking, if it's going to be a proper layer 2 on cross-chain solution, essentially. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Anywho, questions. I'll come to a few randomness. But the charts, obviously I want to look at this. This is the obvious. RSI is doing great today. We've always been saying, if you've been following my content, I've been saying March was a big month. Obviously the tweets that have been going out on the RSR accounts have been very, very important to suggest that Venezuela rollouts and stuff like that was going to happen. And yeah, we're starting to see the benefits of that. But there's also other rumours of obviously the full plans of mainnet coming out in the next coming months. You've obviously got potential Coinbase listings that may or may not be happening when that is obviously fully completed. So it's important to see where things can go. But when we're looking at the likes of RSR, if you've been following my content, obviously I've changed my colours. Let me know if you like the papaya now instead of the white. This whole level, this whole horrible little range essentially that we're in. This whole band has been an absolute nightmare to get through, and finally seem to be penetrating through it, but we need to close. So in the next 4 hours, we may actually open a new candle for the first time in a long time above this level, which will be absolute rock on, which will be pretty awesome. But we'll see how it goes. Oh, sod the charts, mate. If you're not holding a coin, right? If you actually no, let's just rephrase. If you're not taking profits in crypto, you'll lose. That is the game. If you buy late, these prices will go much lower in a bear market. You will absolutely be mental. Are you concerned about minted coins from Reef? Reef have never minted new coins. They've just allocated more coins to their parachain. Come on, stop reading FUD. It's absolute nonsense. Whereas if we are talking about paid network, ooh, that was naughty, wasn't it? So if people don't know, right, paid network had it within their code that someone, well, technically an insider or someone inside, could mint new tokens, and that's what they did. So something happened, someone minted tokens and sold it and made it a complete and utter calamity, right? So just be careful, right? The warning signs were there. It was automatically, well, it was put on war on rugs in January. People were still jumping into it. All the people were chucking money at it. And yeah, it happens, I suppose. Crazy. Thank you for having amazing content. But yeah, paid network. I mean, I've never really looked at it, but I didn't really fancy it. I'm personally in that bubble now where I don't want to buy or add anything to my bags. I don't want to do it because I don't see the point. For me, wow. Well, that's gone well. So yeah. Welcome to crypto. Yeah, it happens. It's one of those things. This is why you've got to do research. This is why you personally, in my opinion, you don't hold many bags. Yes, it's more risky because you've got more capital in one, but the risks of having like 20, 25 different coins and you've got to keep on top of them, yeah, crazy. It's absolutely, it's in all honesty, it's crap for the market. It really ruins the market in a way because it removes that trust element. It makes people not want to go into the likes of a new project, which is obviously a problem. So you've got to be careful with that. But, you know, at the end of the day, you've got to do your research. You've got to do fundamental analysis. You've got to figure out what's what. But there was already, in my opinion, I wouldn't touch this anyways, even though I like the look of what they were doing. It wasn't going to fill my need over the element of it. When you start considering what it actually aimed to do, it had some good things. But it also was well known that there was a bit of a flaw in the code, essentially. But at the end of the day, everyone's got different tastes. Things go wrong, people get bought into whatever. And I just hope that nothing of my bags essentially happen in that way, because it could happen to anyone. Could happen to anyone, which is always horrendous. Oh, what other question? I've got loads of questions today. SparkPoint. Can we have a look at SparkPoint? Because I know I've absolutely ridiculed it on social media. Not due to what the project is, because I don't really know much about it. It seems alright, okay, in terms of it's got good, it's done really well. But I've been getting people, and it's really annoying me, right? I'm not going to lie. Tagging me every 6 hours, every 8 hours, and not just tagging me alone, tagging the likes of Michael Saylor, Elon Musk, right? We're talking about big, massive institutions. I somehow find myself in these tweets. Every single news article, every single bit of information that's been brought out, it's really annoying. Why do it? It's just, personally, it makes it look really bad. It's like going into a shop, right? Imagine this, going into a shop and you want to buy a PC or a computer, and you've got some irritation always going up to, do you want to buy this, sir? Do you want to look at this, sir? Every time you turn your head to a new product and you've got someone in your ear, that's what it's like. And seriously, if your project has got people like that, please try and educate them, because it's really bad. And it looks so bad. It really does. It looks so bad. But when we start talking about like Is it a good project? I have no idea because I don't want to look at it because I've been shilled it that many times. It doesn't look too bad, but I don't know anything about it. But it kind of puts me off that things are happening with it and I'm getting told about it every 10 seconds. It doesn't change anything in my life, and I don't know why I should do it. And people were like, "Oh, but you're shilling this, you're shilling that. Why don't you not talk about this?" Well, hold on a minute. You're telling me I'm a shiller, but you want me to promote this? Come on, use your noggin. Anyways, other questions. Can we talk about Reef, Cheeky Crypto? I don't know who Cheeky Crypto are. Who are Cheeky Crypto? Let me know. I'll ask you questions as well, please. More fun. Have a bit of banter. Ethereum 2.0 will not kill Bitcoin. If you believe that Ethereum will kill Bitcoin, it's like trying to have a fight between a sausage and a vegan sausage, right? They're different in their own right, okay? Ethereum is the global computer, essentially, where you can build on it. It's dApps. It works in a different form. Bitcoin is essentially a store of value. That is it. It's built like a tank. It's a brick. It's the most secure network in the world. It's the biggest computer in the world. And it's the best performing asset ever, right? If you're going, oh, Ethereum's going to kill it. No, come on. People are going to be hoarding the living hell out of Bitcoin in the next couple of years. And literally, if you're saying Bitcoin is dead, you really need to educate yourself on what is money and why Bitcoin is getting bought up massively. Honestly, if you don't understand that, you're in the wrong industry. You should be buying stocks. Essentially, that is it. Ethereum isn't going anywhere. It really isn't going anywhere. And yes, there's going to be better things than it, but Ethereum's got the prestige, it's got the time in the market, essentially. So just be careful with how you try and go on it. Oh my God, here we go. I'm just going to remove you because you are... hide. Keep commenting. No one will see it. So, Cheeky Crypto are a couple of Brit guys who have hosted a talk show. Okay, and they sold their bags, right? Cool. Let them sell the bags. You know something, right? I'll be honest with you. The FUD is annoying, but the best projects get FUD. Chainlink, great example. Cardano, great example. Bitcoin has been declared dead 6 million times. Polkadot gets FUD a lot. You know, all the big projects who are still in the... Look at XRP, for crying out loud. It's like got a massive lawsuit potentially on its head. Still there. It's still worth 21 billion. It's ridiculous when you think about it. But for me, I like Reef. I've invested in it. I've put money I can afford to lose in it. The reason why I like it is because it's already going to communicate with like 5 or 6 different chains, doing the exact same thing that essentially Compound, Aave, and Maker are doing, right? But the biggest isolation and problem is with those chains is they only connect to one, which is essentially the Ethereum chain. Ethereum isn't ready for that. Whereas with it being on Polkadot, potentially on a parachain, potentially having that high throughput, that scalability, and the fee efficiency, Reef will probably do pretty well when you look at the other tokens in that model in the DeFi space. That's why I like it. And I thought, yeah, cool. You know, if people think it's an exit scam, it's an exit scam. It doesn't matter. It's one of those things. Like, nothing goes right in investing. Investing is a thing where it's calculated risk. You put money you can afford to lose in an investment, that's the game. Look what happened to Paid. Look what happened to all the other rug pulls. At the end of the day, people get disheartened essentially by a little bit of like news, a bit of noise from someone who wants to buy in low. And you got to look at all the new accounts on Reddit, for example, were all new accounts who were doing all kinds of stuff. Where when you look at the Chainlink one, the Chainlink one was really kind of like isolated in terms of a group of people. And those groups of people were telling people to like do this and that. And they were paying for adverts for it. It was really quite a big. There was short selling, an actual company who was short selling. That happens in the stock market all the time. It's just one of those things. But yeah, like they've finally fixed this. It's good to see. The supplies metrics are all as they should be. So at the end of the day, like, you know, the product's yet to be released. Steady, it's fine. I don't think it's a scam. But again, you got to do your own research. the end of the day. I like it. I rate it because of what's happening in the DeFi space in Ethereum, and I think this is a good option. That's the way I look at it. At the end of the day, if it was a scam, Binance wouldn't be backing it. Simple as that. Binance have obviously seen something in it and they're interested in it. They're not going to do it at the end of the day. They've already had enough interest in other stuff. Everyone wants to know about Reef now. Anyways, other questions. Should we do some analysis? Right. I mentioned before about Ethereum being potentially undervalued, okay? So this is kind of what I'm looking at. So when we start looking at this chart, I have changed my chart so it looks better. We have done a nice retracement on the daily time frame, the higher time frames, right? Essentially, where we've pulled all the way back. This is the BTC chart, by the way, and Ethereum BTC. Perfect little retracement, and we potentially could be going upwards from here. I personally believe that Ethereum is somewhat undervalued. When you think Bitcoin is currently $50,000 and we're just $200 over the previous all-time high from 2018, essentially, when Bitcoin was only 20K. So I think that's quite one statistic we need to keep an eye on. But when you start looking at the fact of this and you start zooming out on this and go to the weekly time frame as an example here, you know, we think, well, it's been a lot higher. So I've got that in my head that I think this could go higher. I think with the Ethereum kind of developments, the scalability, the change in the future is going to be making it better. And I think that will massively help. It majorly bottomed out. And I'll be honest with you, I missed the boat. Yes, I bought Ethereum back when it was like $14, $13 back in 2016. Well, 2017, start of 2017 essentially. I bought it then. I sold it at a decent profit. But now I think my time is to kind of go into the likes of Polkadot and other systems. I may well buy a bag when I get a load of profit and just hold it for the long term. But ultimately, it's in an uptrend. You're looking at that weekly time frame. It's still in a nice formation of an uptrend. And if we form another high from this point in the next coming months, you're going to be very excited because I believe that with Ethereum, it pulls the altcoins with it. It always does. Even though Bitcoin is the market, leader, the maker, essentially, whatever you want to call it, Ethereum always gets a hype from altcoins. Whenever Ethereum does well, for altcoins, when you look at the previous level. So obviously this is the previous alt season from last time. And a massive run, the DeFi market went mental. Even recently, the DeFi market went pretty crazy in terms of the growth, and we've pulled back quite aggressively. But I do think since the old CME futures and whatnot, it's kind of had a little bit of interest, but it's doing all right, to be fair. It's doing pretty damn good. Oh dear. Comments. Any other coins you want me to analyze in terms of charting? Not so much going balls deep in them. Ooh. Some very interesting things though. But yeah, if I was you, in terms of Ethereum, try and have something left over in terms of Ethereum. I hold a little bit just for like gas fees and stuff, but ridiculous. How's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin's doing great. As I said, my play was I was expecting a run down to this level. It may well still happen, but with stimulus, with like the likes of MicroStrategy and Grayscale buying it so aggressively, I think it may not come. But we'll see. Ideally, we want it to go sideways, and it is starting to show traits that it is starting to go sideways a little bit. But it's still pretty violent at the end of the day. Let's put my other list on. There we go. Ooh, that's 24 hours. Engine coin is still flying. Ooh, that's crazy. Engine coin. Goodness me. I don't even know what happened with what. Anyone got any news on why that's done that? Because I have no idea. Who we got? Right, what we got? Go back to alphabetical. Aave. First one was Aave. So Aave was a great. This was the analysis that I done a few weeks ago on it, essentially. So I put obviously this top here, and you can see how. I know people always dig at me on the chat. Fibonacci's don't work. Yeah, I beg to differ. So this is looking pretty good. Starting to show some sort of uptrend. It may well retrace up to this point. Now, this may well happen, but it also may not. It depends on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is quite bullish and quite hopeful, it may well do well. But the fundamental lines are the entire market is priced on Bitcoin if you are looking at the USD chart. If you're looking at the BTC side of it, even better. It's went to the 618 levels. as you can see, nice little retracement, and we look like we may be on our next leg up. But this will depend on, obviously, if alt season kicks off, if the DeFi boom goes boom. So Aave is looking pretty good. I like Aave a lot. I like what they're doing. This is probably one of the main reasons why I've also I've invested in the likes of what do you call it, Reef, because obviously it's got similarities. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, cool. Engine sign with Atari, was it? Okay. Not bad. But yeah, Engine Coin has always been quite good as a wallet and stuff like that. I've just never really held it, to be fair. I want Irish breakfast coin. Cool. That'd be cool. Farming that. Harmony versus Zilliqa. I personally prefer Zilliqa. I just do. Harmony's good though. I do like it. But you can't have both of them. You got to remember you can't have both. We'll have a look at Zilliqa while we're here, because people are asking, can it hit certain levels? I think Zilliqa's undervalued. I've seen a few comments before stating, oh, it's not doing much, but these are the best charts. Like, if you look at Zilliqa, it's like a great chart, because it's showing good upside. It's retracing and it's consolidating. It's doing the perfect thing that it wants to do. So if you look at history here, like impulse, it consolidated, pop. Pulled all the way back, it started to consolidate a little bit, and then it popped back up. This is the next level. This is where we're at. So this is on the BTC chart. We may well start seeing it go progressively higher. If you look on the USD chart, it's even more obvious. It's great. So it's like boom, consolidate, boom, consolidate. It lost the level because obviously the Bitcoin dumpage, but it's still consolidating in and around these regions. It's still, it's not violent. It's quite steady, and it appears to be like, in my opinion, a bit of consolidation and a bit of accumulation. Essentially, it's looking quite good. So I personally think it's doing all right. It's very, very steady. Obviously, the staking, a lot of people stake it. It's always a good thing to know. And there's all kinds of stuff with it that are coming out. Obviously, Q2, they're looking to aim for the Ethereum bridges coming out, which is pretty good. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Will you be trading from alt into SAT along the way? I will be. I already do. I've obviously sold 4 projects over the last month or so. So I've obviously sold my Voyager, I've sold VeChain, I've sold Cardano, and Utrust. So those were my 4 smallest bags. So I've took them out of my exposure essentially into from Bitcoin or altcoins, and I'm putting them back into Bitcoin. So that makes life much easier. Did you say you can't have both ZIL and one? Yes, because what is the point of having 2 of the exact same things? I personally believe your portfolio should be diverse. And diversity means, you're not going to have all the supply chain coins. You're not going to have all of the payment mechanism coins. You're not going to have all the dApps. You've got to be selective. So for me, I got Polkadot as a cross chain. Okay, I've got RSR as a payment solution and a use case that could work in, the same sort of mentality as a lot of coins, but ultimately I like that more. I've got Zilliqa as essentially a sharding network and an enterprise in blockchain. And then the list goes on to the likes of Reef, DeFi. So you got, in my opinion, that's how I do it. I like to have different types of projects in my bag. I don't want to have the same thing because, what is the point? Like oracles, as an example, you can have every single oracle, but what about if they don't do well? You've kind of shot yourself in the foot. So you've got to be kind of, in my opinion, have a bit of everything, because you want to have bags that will work when your other ones aren't. Like, for example, today, RSR's doing well. Other ones are just quite sluggish and quite boring. So you can't have them all. You really can't. Let me know as well, opinions on this. What is your opinion on NFTs? I want to understand what people think about NFTs, because I've had a few interesting debates about them. I'll let you know my thoughts in a minute, but I want to know what people think as well, because a lot of people are really into them at the minute. So it'd be interesting to see what happens, because I think there's a value for ownership. I think ownership's the biggest thing on it, but I think they're getting abused majorly right now. That's my opinion on it. But yeah, we'll see what happens, because the reason why I'm asking this question, because I think celebrity world and influencers are going to break essentially it, in my opinion. I think the use case of NFTs for me is more about ownership and authority kind of element of it. Whereas when you start looking at what is happening, we've got YouTubers and influencers creating some little art, which is essentially a JPEG or a PDF file, which is getting sold for a ridiculous amount of money, which could be worth nothing in the next 6 months. That kind of scares me. It really does scare me that you're buying essentially a little bit of digital art, essentially, which is what it's commonly kind of been pushed for at the moment. Whereas I see it the other way. I see an NFT or a non-fungible token is that is mine. If that is my car, if that is my insurance policy, if that is something that I want to have physical ownership of, that's how I look at it. Not someone, drawing a Pokemon card, for example. That kind of scares me a little bit. But I do think it will do well long term. I just think the digital art side of it is just going to go a little bit fuzzy. But we'll see what happens. But I think NFTs is more for like I say, ownership and gaming rewards and gaming sort of levels and stuff. I think that's where it kind of boils down to. But yeah, when you start seeing like influencers and like YouTubers building a limited edition set of cards for their own gain, kind of ruins it for me a little bit. And I don't think I'll ever do NFTs. I know people have been asking me to do like models of hats and stuff and cool little stuff, but I just can't bring myself to it because it kind of, yeah, people are going to be investing in my brand and stuff like that, which is fair enough. I admire that. But your investment to me is essentially you watching me now. I prefer that. I don't want people to part with their hard-earned cash to basically buy something that is on a computer. Can't do anything with it realistically. It kind of scares me, but hey ho, we'll see how it goes. The like Panani football cards. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, yeah, Pokemon and stuff like that. Back when I was a kid, collecting football stickers and stuff. Yeah, but it's a bit. When there's money involved, it's a different dynamic. It becomes gambling. Why is Zilliqa disappointing you? Zilliqa has got the best forming chart in the land and one of the best staking models. Anywho, I believe that this is looking good. In my personal opinion, not financial advice, I think when Ethereum pumps, this is going to die. If this does drop hard and really hard, and it does show some sort of meltage, it's going to get very fun. And I'll talk about the dollar chart in a minute as well, which is also important. So when we look at, obviously this, if people don't know, this is a dominance chart. BTC dominance. And what this indicates, it's some sort of bubble indicator that is A, Bitcoin is overvalued or Bitcoin is undervalued versus altcoins. Are altcoins kicking ass or not, right? Versus Bitcoin. And I personally believe that we are in a phase where if Ethereum, the second best coin, the biggest capitalized coin, not Bitcoin obviously, is going to pump, and I've already said that I think it's undervalued. If that happens, boom, this will drop hard, and altcoins will start to flow a bit more, in my opinion. But we've had a bit of a lull the last few days, which has been good, but this is still good. Even though Bitcoin is doing 4 or 5% pumps every now and again, little dumps and stuff, this has still been relatively steady, as you can see by essentially the sideways motion, which is always good. But yeah, I think it's quite cool. Dollar chart. I did mention the dollar chart, didn't I? So I'm going back in time a little bit, the dollar chart. So the reason why I'm doing this, so if you don't know this, obviously I mentioned before, if you missed the start of the stream, I talked about quantitative easing, the increased inflation, obviously the stimulus new bill. What would this mean for this? Well, in my opinion, this will probably start going down. So you're going to be very, very careful. If the dollar index goes down, it's good for Bitcoin because it always pumps. So if you look at, even look at this, right? This was March, April time. Bitcoin was at 4, 5, 6, 7K, right? Give or take. This has dropped. Now look at what Bitcoin's doing. If you look at the history as well, this was this one here. I know it's hard to see right now, but this, bear with me, this was the last big, massive parabolic season in Bitcoin where it dumped massively. Whoopsie. So yeah, things are going to get very, very interesting if this drops further. And if we start looking at a little bit of like this top down to this bottom, it's pretty much on the 50% level. It may well turn around where this 92 level is, we'll see. But the stimulus check has been essentially approved. So I'll move that. So that's kind of important to see if that does happen. And if this does happen and if this move plays out, we may well see an 85% level or 85 points or whatever it's classed as. So that could get interesting for Bitcoin. Anyways, like the video, please. Thanks. Other questions. I think we could have alt seasons like the last one. Personal opinion, I think the hype and the interest and the extra kind of element of stimulus and the dollar kind of diluting and more kind of exposure to what the market is giving us. And essentially, we've seen the growth in Bitcoin, we've seen the growth in the stock market as well. If people are moving their money out of those industries, and we're already seeing balance sheets getting put onto Bitcoin, you know, that's kind of important, and it's just FOMO after that. If you're positioned, you'll probably benefit from it, essentially. But we'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, we've already grown massively. Even if we go, like, if you've not yet done this, go on to CoinMarketCap and go on historic time shots. If you start thinking in a year, where have we been? I know not everyone's been in the market a year, but for me, even when we go, right, let's go back a year, right? Let's just go the 1st of March 2020. What was happening? Even this was before the big massive the COVID crash, essentially. It's chalk and cheese. It really is. It's totally different, and that is within one calendar year. And people don't zoom out. They're always like, oh my god, Bitcoin's down 4%. It's scary to think that where we are right now, it's unbelievable. So it's quite good. So it's pretty awesome. So can we go even higher? Of course we can. Can we correct? Yes. Be prepared for both situations. You gotta be, or you will get hurt. Essentially, you'll get crushed by the wave, as they say. What are my thoughts on Holochain? I've not looked at Holochain for a very long time. I do need to go over it. When do you actually take profits? Do you decide on a figure? It depends on the project. It depends on how I feel, what the market's doing, if I want those profits, if I don't. It depends on how much I've got capital in there as well. Profit taking is the biggest subjective thing in the world. It's like teaching someone how to swim without arms. Relatively hard. You know, it's one of those things. If Ripple loses no. I personally think the lawsuit is going to get dropped. I think it's not going to happen. You got to think XRP has very limited pull on the market, I believe. Because you got to think this whole lawsuit happened and is happening and playing out, and the market went up still. So I don't think it'll dump it. Personally, I think people are too busy focusing on other things right now. Where to shove 1,400 bucks? Well, that's the thing. Like, how many people are going to get that? How many people need that money and will use it? A few, right? Let's be honest, there will be. But there'll be people that won't, and there'll be people that will be like, I got free money, yeah, crypto. Or they'll go GameStop or something stupid like that. I don't know. Wall Street betting. You know, it's just one of those things. We'll see what happens, though. I think it'll be very, very interesting to see the dynamic of that, though. But we've seen it before, it's happened before, and Bitcoin went, woo. I'm just hoping, right? Let's be honest here. I'm hoping this does not happen, right? This is what I don't want to happen. I do not want this to go yoink all the way up, right? If this dominant chart goes up, I'll cry. I want the dominant chart to go down. I want altcoins to remain bullish. I want the total 2 chart essentially to keep going in the way it's going upwards. We've had a correction. Carry on going, please. Get more and more money in the market. And then we'll all be, you know, essentially growing our bags, growing wealth and stuff like that, which will be really, really good, as always. But we don't know what's going to happen in the market. We really don't. And no one can predict it. No one can do this, that, and the other. Where is my entry points for Ethereum USD? Good question. Hello. I don't even know what time frame I'm on. Let's look at the weekly. Actually, no, hold on. I recall saying that this is one of the hardest things to chart right now, because you've got this bottom here all the way at the top, which is essentially tapped the 382 on the nose, right? You could probably go with that one and argue that that wick has happened. Obviously, I'll just remove that little arrow. Obviously, if Bitcoin is going to continue doing okay, this will probably be all right. But obviously, this could go higher. But that's kind of the only thing that you can look at. There is little levels in and around here. If you go to like the 2-day chart, you can kind of see some sort of, but it's the most unconvincing chart ever, if you look at it that way. But for me, it's a monster. Look at that. It's a monster move. It needs to correct, and it has corrected right on the nose on the 618 levels, if you can see that. Unbelievable. But it's one of the hardest to chart, in my opinion. It's just been straight up go, go, go. Been crazy. But you could probably argue from this point here, if we are going to look at one point, if we are going to look at that one, look at this level. Oops. If we're going to work, that is. Which puts it on the 618 as well, give or take. So they've all got some sort of meaning to it. But we'll see. See how Bitcoin goes. China FUD every year. Oh yeah, China always comes out to play. But overall, that's my setup on Ethereum. I think we're going to go for just 2,251 levels, give or take. Grow your sats. Oh yeah, the biggest thing. And I think that the Ethereum chart is undervalued. You look at this level. That's a 618 level from this low. I always find this is a much easier to chart to do it. I don't think Cardano is undervalued at the minute. I think it's overvalued due to the biggest and massive pump it's had. It has to cool off. It will cool off, and then it'll grow again. But when you start looking at the facts here, Ethereum's not moved in the last few weeks, whereas Cardano's done a monster move. So you just got to be careful of where you put your money. China won't ban crypto. They're too invested in it, far too invested in it. They're even buying, some companies are like getting involved in their balance sheet. I think it's very, very hard for China to ban something that they actually are quite into, essentially. What are we heading now, or where are we heading now with Bitcoin? I think Bitcoin's all right, you know. I think Bitcoin's always an asset that you can hold on to no matter what happens. Dollar cost averaging in Bitcoin's probably one of the more simplest ways of doing it. For me, I think the news is going to propel it to higher levels anyways. I think if the stimulus news is obviously legitimate, it comes out, there'll be hopium, there'll be people buying, there'll be people tweeting. And we've always seen whenever Bitcoin goes around that 46, 45, 42 level, whatever, people buy it. And we're always seeing every weekend MicroStrategy or someone buying it. So always props up the price. So not too bad, essentially. What do you think of the star projects of the Polkadot ecosystem? Ooh, that's a good question. I'll give you two. Obviously, I like Reef, I like Kusama, because I hold both of them. I do, though, really rate, there's a few I rate. I rate Track, Origin, Trail. There's a few on here that I do like the look of, but at the same time, it's going to be like every other ecosystem, every single coin. It's going to be crap, it's going to be good. So again, do your research. But I do think obviously Kusama I think is going to do pretty well. But yeah, just keep an eye on a few things. Lit looks decent as well. I like the look of Lit. I've recently looked into it. It's all right, you know. Kind of like the look of this. I think it's pretty decent. Different. It's obviously very, very different as to how it works and what it does do. So that's a very, very interesting one. So definitely one to keep an eye on. But there's a few out there. But there's always going to be some, as I say, there's always going to be rubbish. So just be careful. Swipe, is it swap or scam? Don't know. No idea. Not a clue. Swipe hasn't had the greatest of times in its history. What can you expect from a new project like Reef? Don't know. It's new. We'll see what happens. Why has the market cap changed from 500? It hasn't changed. That's always been the case. It's just this has been out of date. That's it. Like the reason why the FUD was funny was because people didn't look at the Explorers. The Explorers had the exact amount of token supply. These just didn't. Even CoinGecko doesn't have it yet. They just show the one chain, not two. You got to think it's going to be very, very interesting to see where it goes. Thoughts on RSR? Awesome. The chart tells a good story as well. If this closes, obviously over today, and I think over the 3-day chart as well, and obviously the weekly, if this obviously, well, I think it will, to be honest with you. We'll see. It might not happen. If this closes, open a new candle above this, really, really strong. Very, very strong. Rose, I like Rose. I mentioned Rose as one of my undervalued coins recently. I think it'll do well. I like the branding of it. I like its use case. I think it's quite undervalued, essentially. It's got a lot of, room to grow, essentially. Yeah, they're on Binance, but they're only on, there's only a few exchanges they're on, so they could get on much more, get a lot more eyeballs in it. I think it's a decent little project, to be fair. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Thoughts on staking? Staking's very good. I stake Polkadot. I used to stake Zilliqa. There's quite a few out there that you can stake nowadays. Thoughts on VeChain? VeChain is very, very decent. It is taking time to pop, but there's been a lot of coins that haven't moved yet. You got to remember that. Remember, a lot of coins are doing. I'm not reviewing Falcon Project. I don't tend to like it that much, in all honesty. VeChain. Are you more bullish on ZIL, RSR, or REEF for this bull run? Oh, that is a hard question. Can I say all of them? Be on the fence. What RSI are you using? Just a standard one. That is just the standard RSI. I've just customized it for my personal taste and just changed the colors. Still a 14-day as well. I'm not, well, you can add a liquidity to ZIL swap, but I personally don't. I like to keep my tokens close. Luna's good. Luna is Luna's a coin that I rated massively back in the summer when it was 30 cents. And I didn't buy it because I'm a clown. I decided to buy other things, which have done well. Don't get me wrong. They've obviously done well. But, in the day, you can't have them all. Why don't I stake ZIL? Bull markets, I don't stake. What was that? Value appreciation. I stake Polkadot because I plan on holding it as a core hold. Whereas if Zilliqa, for example, goes to like 50, 60, 70 cents, it's big money. It's big. I got in below a cent. So if that does happen, it's a monster. It's a monster change in dynamic, and you don't want to be locked up in the token. In a bear market, though, when the prices are low and their interest is in there, you accumulate, and staking gives you that ability to do that. You don't have to worry about price rises. Whereas in a bull market, we've seen personally, I've experienced in the past where 2 or 3 weeks is sometimes enough for things to go from like $1 to $12 very, very quickly. You always want to get that value appreciation and take profit. So you got to be careful. Right? You don't want to be locked up. That's where the problem is. And it could happen. It could happen, even though it's crazy. Did I see the hack on paid? I did not, but I was watching from Twitter in that way. Thoughts on launchpads? I do like PokerStart. I don't agree with the system that they adopt, though. I don't like the idea that you've got to hold so many tokens to get involved. Yeah, I understand why they're doing it, but yeah, it's just one of those things. But I do think PokerStart is okay. It's just not on Polkadot ecosystem yet. It's on Ethereum, which is why the fees are ridiculous. But yeah, personally, staking a non-core hold in a bull market is somewhat risky. Yes, stake some of it, but keep something out just in case it does a massive rise, because value appreciation is always better. Do I invest in other things than crypto? Yes, I do. I believe Zilliqa will hit high numbers. I think if it does hit, let's just look at Zilliqa for a minute in terms of overall valuation, right? I feel it's undervalued anyways because of it's still not got the Ethereum bridge out yet. It's still not up to full capacity. It's still got very limited projects on it. It's it's decentralized DEX. Only got 3 projects on it. Still got very, very good volume. So the ecosystem will grow anyways from this point as it's developing. It's 1.2 billion. So if we're looking at maybe, obviously, you know, let's be blunt here and talk about it going to $1.10. You know, that's only a 12 billion market cap for something that could realistically be much more effective, much more efficient, cheaper, higher throughput, higher security than Ethereum, which is currently sitting around 200 billion market cap. So you got to think of it that way. Like $1, is it you know, achievable? Of course it is, but it depends on the market. The market is the demand, and if the demand is there and there's limited supply, which there is with Zilliqa, even though there's a lot of tokens, there's a lot locked up in staking, which is why I like it. Whereas I've put a decent chunk in Zilliqa. Zilliqa is my biggest bag. I've spoken about it a lot over the summer. Was telling people, right, if you want to buy into a project that you've done a lot of good research and you understand the market, you understand how Ethereum works, Zilliqa is a one that you should look at. Some people listen, some people don't. It's just one of those things. And I think the Ethereum bridge will help token flow. The Zil swap essentially will obviously help token flow as more and more coins go on, especially with the Ethereum bridge within that as well. There's all kinds of good stuff happening where it will aid other networks as well. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not bald, by the way. Got a perfectly healthy stack of head here. Yeah. Got a decent hairline and everything. People genuinely think I'm bald. It's funny. And I'm not ginger. Who says I'm ginger? You cheeky buggers, yeah. That's ginger. You need your eyes tested. You want to know what colour ginger is? There. The Bitcoin logo. Not my hair. Wow. What one altcoin you think has the most growth potential at current prices? Ooh. How can I can't dye my hair. Come on. I did dye it in the summer though. I had it bleach blonde at one point. A bit of banter. What is a low? Oh, there's loads. There's loads undervalued. I think Chainlink's undervalued. I think Ethereum's undervalued when you look back in terms of it was $2 grand. Yeah, great. What do you do? But you also think it was $1,400 when Bitcoin was $20,000. Kind of crazy. There's loads of coins undervalued. I think there's a lot that are overvalued. There's a lot that aren't. To be fair. Okay, I have not got graph in my portfolio. Yep, I do like it though. I like it a lot. Can't have them all though. I have strict rulings on how many I like to lump on mine. What is halving? Halving is when Bitcoin halves every 4 years. People genuinely think I'm bald. It's great. It's funny. Laughable. I know I wear a hat. The hat's for branding, you know. If I take it off, right, people complain and go, well, where's the hat gone? And I want to put it back on. It's like, you're bald, aren't you? Ugh. Can't win. Really can't win. Funny though. Anyways, I'm going to be wrapping up soon. So feel free to like the video. There's only 260 likes. Someone that's really disappointing. Get more and more. Tap my data. I have no idea what that is. I don't even want to look at that, honestly. Sounds like something that I shouldn't look at. Malicious rumors. One project that I am accumulating at the minute, just small little bits and bobs here and there, is KSM, just because of Polkadot. I think it will do okay. The auctions on KSM are going to go first before Polkadot as well. So that's going to be an interesting little test run to see what happens with Polkadot. Price predictions on the hat. A lot of money. Don't know how it smells, to be honest with you. Any thought on the RSR price? It depends on availability. Availability of obviously Coinbase. Potential use case over in South America. You've obviously got the mainnet coming. So it's hard to say with RSR because it's still, in my opinion, it's so underdeveloped. It's still building, and it's quite exciting to know that and the backers that it's got. So for me, it's a long-term hold, but don't count, don't remove anything essentially from that. Could easily be 50, 60 cents in my opinion, but it depends. There's so many different working kind of elements to that still need to be resolved. We still need to see what's going to happen with the mainnet. It's still only 631 million market cap, which is crazy. Really happy I bought this one. I did. So happy. Very, very happy. KSM will hit 1K. I think it will as well, very, very easily. What altcoin has the best potential in this bull run? I don't know. I would maybe Polkadot. If we're talking about a major coin, like a top asset, Polkadot. If we're talking about like a mid cap coin, it's hard to say there's that many out there. Same with low caps, because we all laugh and we all joke, especially if you've been in this space a few years. Verge was the biggest growing asset of 2017, 2018. It was ridiculous. No one would have perceived that. Whereas now we're at that period where, yeah, we'll know what we'll do okay, but we think there will be that red herring that will just go, whee, boom, crazy. There'll be some mental ones that will go nuts. But I do rate, obviously, you all know that what I rate in terms of reserve rights. I think it'll do very well. I obviously rate Polkadot, KSM as well. I think they'll do very well because of the ongoing developments and potential parachain auctions and stuff like that, which is very, very important for their ecosystem to grow. And obviously the staking is a massive economic kind of burst of like liquidity for them in terms of revenue to carry on developing. And they've obviously had a massive fundraise. So I think Polkadot could be realistically one of the best self-serving kind of projects long term anyways, which would be good. I dropped my little thing. Other coins, I don't know. It's hard to say. There's so many out there. There really is. But yeah, life is good. The biggest laugh in the world of crypto is trying to predict what's going to happen, and that's why you've just got to invest and hold on to that basically. I mean, what's funny though? I'm looking forward in a way at the end of the year to going back and reacting to my predictions for 2021 video, because I said some really controversial things on there, and so far they're playing out to a T so far, but it's only March, so we'll see how it goes. Where do you think ADA can be in a lifespan? It depends on their developments and what they bring out. Personally, I like Cardano a lot, but I also think that it's very, very complicated for people to understand and talk about and get. And it's had a massive release. It's now turning off in terms of the hype train a little bit, the buy the rumor, sell the news. So they've still got more to give, obviously, but it depends on what they're going to bring out. Now, at the end of the day, there's loads of stuff to bring out still in their timeline, in their roadmap. But for me, 35 billion market cap for what they aim to achieve, I think it's going to be very, very interesting. It really is. I think can we see 100 billion? Probably, yeah, in quite a lot of coins. I think you're looking at the top 6 there, obviously excluding Tether, Binance Chain, I think Cardano and Polkadot. We cannot not rule out 100 billion in terms of the chain corporability and how it works. That'd be interesting. Can I look at, what is that? NIM? You do realise that I have no idea what these are, and you just like throw money at me to look at. Which is scary. What is this? By the way, another thing as well, I get so many emails on a daily basis to review things. It's ridiculous. I have no idea what this is. Not a Scooby. However, 1 second confirmations and 1,000 transactions per second is something that's pretty damn needed in the space, essentially. Have a look at website. If that is going to send fast, efficient micro payments, we'll probably do all right. But there's other coins that already do that, which is kind of the problem. You don't need that many payment solutions, in my opinion. There's already loads that do it. So you've got to be careful. But yeah, it looks all right. But it's just a payment solution, in my opinion. It needs to have bigger. Wow, what apps have they got? Enough. Yeah, I don't really do payment solutions. The only reason why I like RSR essentially is because it kind of is specialized in the hyperinflation kind of level. It's kind of cool. Why do I like Bitcoin Cash so much? I never said that I did dislike it. I just, for me, it's pointless. Like the way Bitcoin's built, it was designed to be kind of resilient to attack. That's why it's got such a small megabyte block size. Whereas if you look at Bitcoin Cash, it was like a community-driven basis that, oh, it should have more and more things. It should have more transactions. But it's not Bitcoin. It kind of removes the store of it in that way, and it makes it much harder to be like secure, in my opinion. So when you start looking at Bitcoin Cash in terms of how it kind of works versus Bitcoin, it's a different kind of entity. When you start looking at the fact of the difference in code, it removes why Bitcoin's important and why Bitcoin works. But yeah, it works, it does its thing, but for me, there's only one Bitcoin, and it's not this one. It's Bitcoin, not Bitcoin Cash. So the community decided what was better. Well, you can obviously tell what was better. Bitcoin, not Bitcoin Cash, which is why it's now ranked 11th. Anyways, I'm going to leave because I'm tired. And it's a big week tomorrow. Well, starting from tomorrow, it's a big week. I think potentially a good week for the market. I think the way the market is going with a potential stimulus check and how Ethereum's kind of playing up, it might do all right. But yeah. Anyways, thank you for joining. Please do, if you are new, slap on a like, leave a subscription, and obviously leave a bell notification. I will be live again next Sunday. I'm going to do it once per week now, not on a Friday. And yeah, every other day. Well, every day, Monday to Friday, 7:30, as per.